Hello there, everyone. Welcome. It's Michelle McLean here, your health coach skills mentor. And I'm going to be sharing a tutorial today on coaching to the gap. So I'm going to teach you a 3-part coaching framework that's really helpful to focus your coaching. So I just need to get this sharing over to my Facebook group and then we're going to get going. So let's see if I can find the video. There we go. And I'm just going to share this. So I hope you're having a great day. It's a pretty rainy, muggy, foggy one here today. All right, so why isn't this showing up properly? Let's see. There we go. All right, welcome everyone. I see a few of you joining in. So I'm just gonna get started here in just a minute as I post this into the other group. Wonderful, that's going now. So welcome everyone, it's Michelle McLean here, your health coach skills mentor. And today I'm going to be talking all about how to coach to the gap. And so I'm going to be sharing with you a 3-part coaching framework that's really, really powerful and helpful to help you really focus in during your coaching session. So to focus your coaching. So what I've been seeing a lot of, I listen into a lot of buddy coaching sessions and watch a lot of new coaches practice their coaching skills. And what I see happening a lot is that a coach will ask the client, so, tell me what you want to focus on today. Tell me what you want to work on today. What do you want coaching around today? And so the client shares, and then what I see the coach doing is kind of jumping right into fixing the problem. So they might ask a series of questions to get more information, and then they kind of just jump right into action planning. So it's wonderful to see a lot of you new coaches doing really well at the action planning phase, but there's more to get to before we just jump into action. The other thing that I typically see happening is that new coaches will get together with a new client and they'll allow the client to tell the story, as we do, what's happening with them, what's going on. And the client goes into a lot of background, maybe about, traumas or life experiences that they've had. They might share all of their ailments and illnesses and symptoms and things that are happening with them. And the new coach feels really confused, oh my goodness, what am I supposed to do with all of this? How am I supposed to guide the client, right? There's so much going on here. What's my role in all of this? I know I've absolutely felt like this. So if that feels like you, that you jump into action right away, you're not sure what to do with all this information that your client shares, then I really do think that this coaching framework that I'm going to share with you today and learning about how to coach to the gap will be really, really helpful in your coaching practices. So what I want to say just before I jump in, is in that last instance that I shared where your client tells you a lot about their background and their history and their story and all of that good stuff that is good information for you to have. A lot of times what we also do is kind of jump into therapy, right? We become their therapist. We want to help them unpack and process and, go through all of those traumas and life experiences to help them figure out, how it's impacted them. And of course, we know that that's not our job as a health coach. That really would be the job of a therapist, right? To dig back into all of that. So that really brings us into, what is the role of coaching? So coaching is very present and future focused, right? We want to meet the client where they are today, and we want to help move them forward to where they want to be in the future. And so that's really, the essence of coaching. So that in itself can bring a lot of focus, right? We can let go of needing to process all that past stuff, and we can get really focused and, centered on where is the client today, where do they want to be, and how can I support them in getting there? So that essentially is coaching to the gap. So I want to talk a little bit more and share just a little bit more background about what coaching to the gap is so that you really understand, and then I'll share the 3-part framework. So I'm just looking down at my notes just to make sure that I'm not missing anything. So yeah, the gap is really the place between where the client is today and where they want to be in the future. That's essentially it, right? And so again, as coaches, that's where we focus. Where are you today? Where are you stuck? Where are you challenged? What's your issue? And where do you want to be in the future? So, we can imagine this as, a visual is, imagine you're going to cross a bridge, right? You're on, the one side of the bridge, you've got the bridge to go over, and you've got the destination on the other end. Well, the gap is really the bridge, right? Or it could be the water under the bridge, the river, whatever it is, but it's the gap. It's in between where you are now and where you want to be. So we can imagine that sort of bridge visual to just grasp what the gap is. And our job as coaches is to help the client get across the bridge, right? Get them from where they are today to where they want to be in the future. So in order to help our client get, across the bridge to where they want to be, we definitely need to understand a few things first. And this is where, where I was saying before, a lot of new clients jump right into action planning. We want to spend some time exploring first, right? Before we just say to the client, all right, what's your first step across the bridge? How are you going to get there? Let's explore a few things first that are really going to help the client get motivated and excited to cross that bridge. So, we want to get them excited. And so now I want to share with you sort of what are the pieces of this coaching to the gap? What are those 3 steps? So the first step in coaching to the gap is to understand and identify the current state. So that's where the client is on the, first side of the bridge before they take those first steps. We really want the client to understand where they are today. And this is going to, in a way, sort of agitate the problem a little bit and really help the client feel like, I don't like where I am today. I'm stuck, I'm challenged, I, can't move forward, I've got a problem or a scenario that's holding me back. And, we need to really fully understand that before we can say to the client, all right, take those first few steps. So the current state is all about the problem. We really want to allow the client to tell us what's happening here. Where are you today? Tell me about what's currently happening in this area for you. And what are the impacts? So how is your situation, your scenario, whatever you're stuck around, how is that impacting you? Is it impacting you physically, mentally, in your relationships, in your finances? How is it impacting your life? How does it feel to be in this place where you can't take those first steps across the bridge, right? So those would be some of the questions we would ask to really identify that current state. We want to get a really nice, clear picture of everything that's happening in this current place on that first side of the bridge. So that is going to, again, provide the client, probably an aha moment to say, I don't really like where I am right now. And, I want to move from this place because it's not a really good place to be, right? So then the second step would be to explore that destination, right? What's it going to look like on the other side of the bridge? So in coaching, we call that the future state, or the desired outcome, the desired state. So it's where the client wants to be. So we really do want to spend a good amount of time helping the client explore this. So what's it going to look like on the other side of the bridge? If you're able to overcome the obstacle or the challenge, what's it going to feel like when you get there? What are the benefits going to be? We also want to open the client up to possibility thinking. What's possible, for you and your life and your family and your work and your relationships, if you're able to overcome this hurdle and get to that other place. So what does that look like? What does it feel like? What are you doing there? What are the benefits of being there? So this can be sort of almost like a visioning exercise, right? We want to just help the client explore all the things that are possible in that desired future state. So you might also want to even explain it or explore it in a time frame. So imagine it's 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, a year down the road from now. Where would you like to be at that point? So using sort of that telescoping time frame can also be powerful for the client. So that would be the future state, really helping the client explore that part. So at this point, you've gone through those first steps. You've identified the current state and you've explored the future state. So you might say something to the client like, so I really understand where you are right now. I understand, all the impacts and the negative things that are happening, and how you're stuck in this current place. And, it's also really exciting to hear you talk about what's possible and what that could look like. So we recap, we reflect, we summarize back to the client what we've heard, and now we invite the client into the third step, which is, are you ready to set some goals and action plans to help move you from this current state to where you want to be? So the third step is the action planning and the goal setting place. So in that, exploration, if you're in the coaching session, you might simply say to the client, so what, after everything that we talked about today, what's the first step that you're going to take on that bridge, right? What's the first step that you can take and be committed to get to that future state? We don't have to do it in the first week, but what's the first step that you're going to take? So then you would move into sort of action planning around that action step, really looking at all the different SMART aspects of action planning, talking about accountability and everything that's going to happen to support the client in taking that first step. So just to recap, coaching to the gap is understanding the current state, looking at where the client wants to be in the future state, and helping them close that gap, right, of the two states in their life. We're bringing those two states of the client's life a little bit closer together. And how are we doing that? We're doing that by helping them come up with an action plan, right, and a roadmap and some goals to help them get there. So this coaching to the gap framework, this 3 steps, current state, future state, and then action planning, can actually be used in a variety of different ways in your coaching process. So number 1, you could use it in your first session with your client to look at the big picture, right? Just tell me your story of where you are today. And then, that visioning exercise. So where do you see yourself in a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road, right? That big visioning exercise. So that's looking at current state and looking at future state. Pardon me. We might also use it, lots of times during our actual ongoing coaching sessions. So you would use this maybe at the beginning of the session to say to the client, okay, where are you today? And where do you want to be at the end of our coaching session? So that's a nice way to use current and future state in actually setting the agenda for the coaching session. And then when you get into action planning, as we just went through, you might use it in the sense of, okay, here's where you are today, and, where do you want to be in the next week after you accomplish these action steps or goals? So we can use this framework in a lot of different ways. It really does capture the essence of coaching, not only health coaching. This is used in all aspects of coaching. It really is that fundamental principle that we meet the client where they are today and we help move them forward to where they want to be in the future. And how do we do that? We help close the gap by helping them come up with an action plan, some goals, and some accountability to support them in getting there. So I hope that's been helpful for you today. If you have any questions at all, I'd be happy to answer them. You can just post them in the comments and I will respond and tag you in the response. So also, if you're not already part of my online Facebook community, I would love to have you come over and join me there. The group is called Coaching Skills for Health Coaches, and it's just a really great place for new and seasoned health coaches to come together, to share challenges and obstacles, and really work to up-leveling your coaching skills. So have a great day, everyone. I hope this has been helpful. Talk to you next time. Bye. Bye, Yasaman.